So, the Bulls lost to the Knicks. The Knicks, yeah, that was fun. With 8 games left in the season and fighting for playoff positioning, yeah, like, what else is there really to say at this point? And I know Knicks fans will get upset by me making this statement, but yeah, your team is not good. You're 11th in the East and likely going to be staying there. So yeah, this is a bad loss for the Bulls. Being given an easier game on their schedule to pick up a win as they near the end of the season. And to make matters worse, you have the 2 teams behind them in the standings both win their respective games in the Raptors and the Cavs. Now, luckily, the Bulls have the tiebreaker over both of those teams, but Jesus Christ, this team is in an absolute free-for-all. And every time it looks like, hey, they might be gaining some kind of momentum, like the win they had the other night against the Cavs, or even the way they started off this game being strong, it's then followed up by horrible execution, and the team that, for the most part, doesn't look like they just really care. Hate to say it, but it's true, and I'm not buying the whole, well, if we only had Lonzo Ball narrative. Like, no, Lonzo alone is not a game changer for this team. Yes, he would help, the defense would be better, but beyond that, the lack of defense and poor offensive execution, this is more of an effort thing than anything. These guys are simply not playing with heart. They don't want it as bad as the other team does. They don't even want it as bad as a Knicks team who was all but eliminated from playoff contention. How bad is that? That a team that doesn't even have a shot at the play-in wants it more than you do. It's inexcusable. Now, as you guys know, I have a live chat for every Bulls game. I'm pretty active on Bulls Twitter, so I'm always looking in to see what people are saying in real time because that's when you get the most reactionary comments from Bulls fans, which me doing this video and just ranting about this loss is a reactionary video, but I've seen it all from people saying, you know, Lavine is the problem and isn't worth a max contract, to DeRozan is playing selfish basketball, and now that he's finally cooled off and not playing on insane efficiency, it's what's causing the Bulls' downfall. Or you have some people saying that it's all squarely on Billy Donovan and the coaching staff. Or even others saying the front office from not making the necessary moves that this team needed at the trade deadline. Of course, there's also the trade Vucers, he's too soft, Coby is trash, we were overhyping Io, like I've seen and heard it all. But nowhere, and I guess I shouldn't say nowhere, but the majority of people are not calling out the obvious here, and that's this team has lost all of their confidence and they're hanging their heads low, and they have lost that desire and passion you saw at the beginning of the season. They know teams are gunning for them now because they see the Bulls on their schedule. They see that they're sliding in the standings and saying, hey, this is an opportunity for us to take advantage. Let's hit them hard. They're not fighting like they used to. Is some of that on coaching? Yes, it is. And I'll talk about coaching in this game in a little bit, but this is also on the players. You have the talent on most nights. You have more talent than the teams you're facing. It's on you to showcase that and play hard and hit your opponents where it counts, especially those who are lower in the standings. As for this game, I mean, where do I even start? How about the fact that the Bulls allowed Mitchell Robinson to snatch up 8 offensive rebounds? The Knicks had 13 in total. Who is putting a body on that guy? Yes, that's on Vucevic, but it's also not all on Vucevic. Everybody needs to be hustling and fighting for rebounds. Everybody should be boxing out, guys, until the possession is over. No more trying to sneak out for outlet passes. No more weak boxing out assuming someone else is going to grab the board. And when you see the Bulls giving up that many second chance opportunities, why is it that Billy Donovan decides to play small ball and 4 guards most of the night? What the hell kind of rotation is that when you see the Bulls are getting worked on the glass and you see a guy like Obi frickin' Toppin bodying his way to the basket on guys like Zach LaVine and Coby White? How does that make any sense? How is it that Patrick Williams and Tristan Thompson only played 13 and 14 minutes respectively in a game like this where you see these size mismatches are presenting you problems? Like, even for Julius Randle, dude had a horrible game tonight. Only 5 points, was 1 for 9 shooting, but still managed to grab 13 rebounds. Aside from the incessant second chance opportunities the Bulls were giving up, how is it that you let a guy like Alec Burks light you up from behind the arc, going 5 for 10 from deep and finishing the game with 27 points? Or let Obi Toppin, who is 25%, a 25% three-point shooter, go 3 for 6 and put up 17 points on you? How do you let these kind of things happen with 8 games remaining on the schedule against a team that is out of playoff contention? How do you shoot 26% from 3? Finish the game with 16 assists as a team against a team that is one of the worst passing teams in the league, and mind you, also allow so many assists to their opponents. It just baffles me what we're seeing right now from this Bulls team, and I know some Bulls fans aren't going to like to hear me say this or that I'm being pessimistic because usually I'm more of an optimist when it comes to this team, but things are just not good right now. There's really no way of getting around it. And I really don't know how the Bulls stop the bleeding at this point. Now, as for my thoughts on some of the players in this game and how they did tonight, I mean, I'll start with DeRozan, because on paper, it looks like he had a phenomenal game, right? 37 points, 12 for 26 shooting, was a perfect 12 for 12 from the line, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. But here's my issue with DeRozan's play tonight. And we've seen it more recently, and I've called it out before. The guy is simply forcing it too much in the fourth quarter. Sometimes it works out, right? Like even tonight, he hit some big shots. The Bulls made that run where they cut the lead to 1 point. But there are also so many times where DeRozan simply brings the ball up, dribbles a bunch of times between his legs, brings it to a spot in the mid-range, takes a really hard contested shot, often hoping to get a guy up in the air and drawing contact, and then you have guys standing around watching. No ball movement, no player movement. And I want to see from DeRozan was that playmaker that he became last season in San Antonio, where he finished 6th in the league in assists. Yes, he had 7 assists tonight, but it's more so on the timing of his shot selection in these moments that just haven't been working for the Bulls. Zach Lavine, same thing, started out super hot to where you thought he was going to have one of those famous nights at MSG that so many players have had, but he was pretty MIA in the final quarter of the game. Was forcing some bad shots, fadeaway contested jumpers where he had guys open, was trying to take breakaway 3-on-1 plays all by himself. Like, what is that? This is the time of the season where you need to be playing smart and your most focused basketball. And we're seeing the Lavine from the Jim Boylan days at times taking over some of these games. And boy, don't even get me started on his poor defense tonight. Had some decent on-ball defensive possessions, but for the most part, he was losing his man off the ball and letting guys outwork him getting to the hoop. Like, this is a guy who is looking to be the Bulls franchise player on a max contract. And time again, we've seen him falter in big moments and mental lapses down the stretch. Vucevic, I mean, I don't know what else there's to say other than the dude just needs to be more aggressive and assertive in the paint. Tonight, he looked soft on most possessions going against Robinson. Again, all-star level player Vucevic that you traded for, and he can't even get rebounds over guys like Mitchell Robinson. Maybe a bit of an exaggeration because he still have 13 rebounds, and Robinson is one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, but still, that's another thing though. I can't for the life of me figure out why Donovan doesn't use Vucevic better in running more plays to him in the post, and also just using his passing skills as a big man to find cutters going to the basket. Like, I really cannot understand how Billy Donovan can just sit aside and watch these guys play ISO basketball when we all know it's clear as day this team is so much more successful and impactful when they're moving the ball and playing quickly in transition. And yes, I know some will say, well, that's what happens when you don't have Lonzo Ball, your starting point guard, but the Bulls can still play that level of basketball. We've seen them do it. It's just they get tunnel vision in trying to create for themselves, and that game plan just falls by the wayside. But anyway, I don't really know what else there's to say about this game. I already said that. Coby struggled yet again. Caruso didn't play well. Io was okay. Patrick Williams, Tristan Thompson didn't get a lot of playing time in a game where you needed more size. What sucks is that the Bulls are right back at it tomorrow. And you always want to win that first game of a back-to-back knowing you're going to be exhausted for the following one. It's the Wizards, though. Like, the Bulls better win this game. Otherwise, you're going to be seeing more of me ranting, accompanied by profanity, most likely. I won't stand for a loss like that to an even worse team that is all but tanking at this point in the season. I just can't wait to get back home and play at the United Center. Maybe that will help. Help me out, guys. Leave a like and subscribe if you like the content, because right now, it is not fun to be a content creator for the Bulls, I'll tell you that much. Back at it again tomorrow. I'll see you guys then.